Welcome to Story and Song from Music City, USA, the show that brings you entertaining conversations with some of the most interesting people in the world of music today. Hosted by Susan Gabrielle.
Welcome back to Story and Song, everybody. We are here today with the talented Peter Gray, and he is a singer. He is a classical singer. He is sort of a retro 50s kind of singer, and he is going to share part of his journey with us. So, hello.
Susan, thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. It's so nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, too. We had a little trouble hooking this all up today.
But we got it done. And in the end, that's the only thing that matters.
I just turned up the volume. How is that?
Perfect. Can you hear me? Am I coming through clear enough?
You're coming through loud and clear now, or crisp and clear now, I should say. I read that you really, really like the older music, that you have a love for the 1950s, maybe even a little bit before that time, and that you sang in Carnegie Hall.
So before I even, I did play in Carnegie Hall. That was a very long time ago in the 90s. And my aunt says the most incredible thing about the radio. She says when you listen to the radio, she's very wise, but she says when you listen to the radio, you know exactly what's going on in the world. You know how people are feeling, how people are thinking. You know what's going on. And what I really love, I think she's right. I never thought about it that way. But she really is right that emotionally, you know what's going on and what the issues are at the moment. And I love, of course, the 50s, when we listen to music from the 50s, it brings us back in time. And you can see what was important at that particular point in time. You can see what was relevant and how people were feeling. And, I have a romantic view that I want to look back and I do want to think about simpler times. And better times, happier times, because right now the world is there's a lot of crazy things, especially with this post-COVID world. There's a lot of suffering, and maybe it was always that way. I wasn't there in the 50s, but when I listen to the music from the 50s, it makes me happy, and I just hear such incredible voices. I hear such incredible beauty.
I feel exactly the same way.
It seems like people also spoke to other people more respectfully. There was a formality about it. And I don't know. I really love it. And, there's other things. I love music from the 60s. I love music from the 70s. And it's incredible that I can journey in time. And you can too. We can all do that by listening to the radio and tuning into particular channels that focus on different eras. I really like music that makes me feel good. I want to feel good. I want to feel happy. I do want music that, I like music that's deeply emotional. I love Roy Orbison. Who doesn't? His voice, I can't imagine a better voice. Roy was a romantic, and he was one of the most humble human beings and one of the most beautiful human beings ever to live. And I admire him very, very deeply. And I can tell you in my own journey, the biggest thing that I work with a teacher in Argentina named Olivia Olmo, and she spent months unteaching me because I was trying to sing like Elvis. I was trying to sing like Roy, and it turns out I'm not.
You're you from Connecticut.
And she spent 6 months unteaching me and getting me to sing like me, and that was a tremendous challenge. And you know what? It was also tremendously disappointing to learn that I'm not Roy Orbison and I never will be.
But you know what? That's a good vocal coach to unlearn you,
That's right. There's no question, but all of us, I think that's one thing that people connect with in music is they want to hear something authentic. They don't need a bad version of Elvis, but I'm never going to be Elvis. But, that was really my journey, was finding my voice, finding me and figuring that out. And also confronting. There were so many things about myself that I wanted to hide or didn't want to confront. I have a very sensitive side, and actually a different coach helped me to see that. He defined me. He said, the one thing that I would say about you is that you're sweet. I didn't like that. But you know what? 10 years later, I've embraced it. If this is who I am, you got to be who you are. If I'm sweet, then okay, and if I'm sensitive, that's who I am. You gotta, I think that's the most important thing in life is finding our voice, finding out who we are, finding out how we want to relate to other people, finding out that when someone cuts you in line, that you don't have to, be nasty and rough. You can say, okay, you can, it's okay.
I think that's great. It's funny. Guys don't like to find out that they're nice guys. That they're sweet, they want.
That was the case.
They
for
want
me.
to be the tough guy, whatever. But when girls tell them, you're such a sweet guy, you're nice, they don't take that as such a compliment. But really, it's the sweet ones that win.
I don't know if we win or not. I've had like in all parts of my life, I've had it work out in my favor, and I've had it work out against me. But what I can tell you is at the end of the night, I can look in the mirror and I can feel okay. And I can get in bed and I can sleep well. I can sleep good in my own bed. And I can feel okay about myself. I've got, 3 kids, and I feel, believe me, boy, am I not perfect. I do a lot of things wrong. But, they also know that, that I try to be kind. I try to do the right thing. I try to be gentle. I get upset like everyone else. I yell and do all the things that parents do. But, you do the best you can. Everyone in this world is doing the best that they can. And that's all, that's all they can do. That's the big thing in finding my voice. I'm no longer sorry that I've accepted that this is who I am. Just like I've accepted, I got brown eyes, and I'd love to have blue eyes. I'd love to be 6'1". I'd love to have blonde hair. But it's not going to happen. So I've had to accept it, and I've had to learn to like who I am and appreciate it and value and try to give the world the best version of me that there is. And same thing with, when I go into the studio, I am brutal on myself. And after I produce a song, I'll listen to it. Before I produce a song, I sing it 2,000 times. Then I'm ready to record. And after I've recorded, I have to listen to it hundreds and hundreds of times and go back and, it's gotta be right. And, it's gotta be the right message, the right sound, the right feel. It's gotta be authentic. And I go back. I remember I went back to my vocal coach, Olivia, and I said to her, I'm producing some harmonics in this one phrase that I just don't like these particular harmonics. And she helped me. In one case, she said, change, substitute your vowels, change this vowel to this vowel. And then in another case, she said, if you just protect the corner of your lips a millimeter, you're going to produce slightly different harmonics and frequencies. And she was absolutely, and that's what it takes. It takes in every part of our lives. It's amazing how much help we need. And it's amazing how much stronger, I think me as a guy and probably other guys, I wanted to tell you how, not only how tough I was, how self-sufficient I was. And through music, I've learned, I can see why Roy Orbison was so humble. I don't know entirely, but it's a humbling process that you need so much help from so many people.
Yes.
By the way, with him, I think he was just an amazing human being. I think he was born that way.
I don't think any of us are born that way, but it shows you. So you sort of use music as a metaphor for life.
Definitely.
With like little shifts can make big differences. I'm picking this up from you.
So so many different things. So it's interesting. When I started out, my background was classical music, and I avoided dissonance. And I met an online instructor, a guitar instructor, that's my main instrument, named Tom Hess. And I learned a lot about music theory from Tom Hess. One of the things he taught is that each of the notes first of all, that all of the scales intersect, and that each of the notes has a place. It has a name, that all of these quote unquote wrong notes, I understand they're not within that scale, but those non-chordal notes, those dissonant notes, they have a purpose, they have a use, they have a name. And when used, in the correct way, and he taught me 11 different ways to use dissonance, to create tension, to start with tension, to really, and add such beauty. And I thought dissonance only hurt, but dissonance can be really beautiful. when used in the right way. And,
Exactly.
It's the same thing in life. All these things. I avoided olives. I hated olives. And a friend really gave me an education about olives. And the more I learned, the more fascinated I became, and the more I wanted to sample this and learn and understand how olives, it's a part of the palate, and it's a part of one of the flavors in life. It's a fantastic flavor when used correctly in the right way.
That's amazing. You started with music, and then you had all this self-discovery that goes way beyond music, that goes to who you are as a parent and as a human being.
And all of the learning it's permanent learning. So it's funny, like a lot of my friends are musicians, but we all want the same thing. And I think everyone wants the same thing. Everyone wants to be a better person. And as we're working towards becoming better people, I've had friends say to me, I'm backsliding. And I don't believe you can, because once you learn, like we were talking a moment ago, cumin is a great spice, but it's not a great spice to put in apple pie. It's a fantastic spice in chili. And once we learn all these different things that even behaviors, this is a great behavior in a certain circumstance, I don't believe that we can backslide. I believe that we make a metaphysical change, and that as we learn, we grow, and we can still make mistakes.
But that's how we grow further.
That's how we grow further.
We make those mistakes, but we catch them quicker, and then we go to like a higher level, grow more, and then take it from there.
And we need to surround ourselves. Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to reach a part, at least in this lifetime, where we're just perfect and we're just going around and we know everything and we don't make any mistakes, and that would kind of be boring. We're inventing new mistakes every day. That's right. And the world is changing.
Danger of running out.
Right. And as long as the world is changing, and you have 3 kids, so of course they're always changing. So you're always going to be making mistakes, but you're always going to love them, and they're always going to love you. And, so that's what makes life interesting. But you're obviously a very good person. And I'm sure you have 3 very decent human beings as kids. So you're on that journey together. And
thank you. We're trying. We are trying. And we believe me, like you said, we are making plenty of mistakes along the way, like we all are. And, you hope you learn from them. You hope to do better next time. And it's the same thing with music. That's why we practice so incredibly much, and we learn. That's why it takes me 1,000 attempts just to learn a song, and another 1,000 attempts to become happy with it. And then I need to record it and hear it objectively. By the way, I don't know if this is on the topic or not, but I have a team of people who advise me, and none of them say nice things to me. They never say, "Oh, you did great." It's always this was
honestly critical. But
you have to be. You have to, because when my dear friend Ken Kuo, who's a concert cellist, he pointed out that when it's recorded and you're putting it out there, it can't just be perfect. It has got to be like God's perfect. It's a millimeter is a mile in music, and that's a very high standard. Yeah. It's an impossible standard.
Yeah, and I can tell you're a perfectionist. I mean, you must have had days in the past where you were very hard on yourself. I mean, to the point where you were not happy.
Music is a funny thing. I mean, in truth, I've been trying to get out of the music business for my whole life.
It drags you back when it's in your soul.
For this.
Yeah. When it's in your soul, though, when it's just the thing that makes you want to get up in the morning, and the reason that you say, I better go to sleep now so I can get up and do it again, you can't get out of it.
You can't get out. There's no getting out. It's once again like having brown eyes. I can't, I heard another musician say, when it's in your blood, it's in your blood.
Yeah.
And there is no escape.
I know. We're going to play your song. Now, it is You're Only Lonely, and it's your rendition of it. We're going to play that now.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful talking with you. It's been wonderful meeting with you.